Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the 50/50 podcast. Not sure what I'm going to call this yet. A little preamble before we start actually talking about sports. I just want to apologize for the lack of content that Tyler and I have produced on this channel as of late. Things have getting really complicated in both our lives, so we haven't really been able to communicate a lot about producing more content. And but there's nothing more I want to say about that. It is what it is. Unfortunately, there's nothing much we can do. Hopefully, we're going to try to work on it more in the future. But I'm here now. I just started my second semester of school here in Madison, and so I'm in a very productive mode, and I really want to talk about sports. So here we are. I guess you can call this a quick 50. We've only ever done one of those, and that was me. But this will be a YouTube video, as if you're watching it on YouTube. I'm also going to take the audio, and we're going to get that on all the podcast outlets, whatever you call that thing, majig. But, so yeah, this one's just going to be me today. I'm going to try to do things like this hopefully once a week, because I do really want to talk about sports, and I do really miss talking about Wisconsin sports, especially with Tyler, but with all the guests we have on too. So I'm going to try to do maybe these once a week, and maybe Tyler and I can get more content out with the two of us. But these are probably going to be short, like 10, 15 minutes. I'm probably just going to talk about two things. Today we're going to be talking about the Milwaukee Bucks season so far, and also the preview to the NFC Championship game. But and then next week I think I want to do post NFC Championship game, and then a little maybe something about Wisconsin men's basketball. But so yeah, that's a little preamble getting in. So like I said, we're going to start with the Bucks season. As of right now, we are 9-5. Last night, we had a heartbreaking loss to the Brooklyn Nets on a very questionable inbounds play. I mean, it's not the fact that the inbounds play was questionable. It was the question about how much time we had left on the clock. But anyway. So of our 5 losses we've had this season, we've had 2 losses by less than 2. 2 losses by fourth quarter meltdowns on our part. And 1 loss by a franchise record 3s set by the Knicks. So the way I look at that is the 2 games that we lost by 2 or less is fixable. 2 games we lost by fourth quarter meltdowns is fixable in a sense. It's going to happen to every team. Even the best teams go through fourth quarter dry spells, you know. But and then the franchise record, that's nothing we can control. So all 5 of our losses this season have been pretty manageable and fixable when it comes to fixing game plans and stuff like that. I'm really not scared that we're only second in the East right now and people are underperforming, whatever. But one major thing I want to talk about is the offseason moves, because we never got to talk about the offseason moves. They were good until they weren't. And I mean that in a way. Bryn Forbes is what I mean. So let's take a look at Bryn Forbes. Everyone else we picked up in the offseason has been doing fine. Actually, Bobby Portis might be one of the best bench players that the Bucks organization has had since we drafted Giannis, and he came off the bench. Bobby Portis, I wrote down a few stats, but one that really jumps out to me here is Bobby Portis is averaging 2.5 offensive rebounds a game off the bench. That's crazy. That is huge. I love it when he comes in the game. Pure energy guy. He's so much fun to watch. Such a great pickup. And another one I've seen a lot of debate about is DJ Augustine. So far in the season, his stats have been pretty ass. In the game last night, I think he went like 0 for 7 from the floor. He's had a lot of games where he's just put up a goose egg for points. And this is a man who beat the championship Raptors team basically by himself. So I still have hope. I've seen what he can do when he plays well. I don't think he's gonna be a complete bust, but we're now 14 games in the season and he hasn't really shown up. I think he's averaging like 6, 1, and 3 in 19 minutes per game, which is oof. But we're gonna get to the real the real talking point here. Bryn Forbes. I wrote down some stats here, so you can react to these as I react to them. He's averaging a 8.3 PER. He's averaging a team low -6 box plus minus. and he has a 19% usage rate, which is the same as Drew Holiday. And I know usage rate are skewed based on minutes, but you're telling me of the, what is he, 17 minutes per game he's out there. He's either shooting or turning over the ball 19% of the time in the 17 minutes he's out there with an 8.3 PER. This man needs to get off the court. I would love to see Jordan Nora. Where's Torrey Craig? The other big accusation we had, the other person we spent money on this offseason. Where is Torrey Craig? I know he broke his nose, but he's been back for a game or two now. He needs to be in the game. He needs to get Bryn Forbes out of the game. Get that man off the floor. I remember watching the game last night, and there was a point where we had our starting four and then Bryn instead of Dante. And I literally said in our sports group chat, I said, you have Giannis, Chris, Brooke, and Drew on the floor. Who do you want taking a shot? And Bryn Forbes was taking shots. Like, there's no excuse. No excuse for it. He needs to be out of the rotation, or at least bumped down to less than 10 minutes a game. The man cannot play, and he's not a major reason why we have so many losses this season. He's bad, okay? He's bad. We have better players in the rotation, or at least more capable players in the rotation, and I would love to see him out of the rotation. Get him out of the fucking rotation. And some basic team stats, wrapping up on the Bucks here. Some basic team stats. We're top 10 in basically everything. The only things we weren't were like 2-point field goal attempts and shit that kind of just didn't matter. But the one that stood out to me is we're shooting 40% from three so far, and that puts us at second best in the entire league. I don't think we've ever had this good of a shooting team. We are shooting the ball really well. I don't know who it is, I guess. I guess Middleton's shooting better this year. Dante is definitely shooting better. Brooke was a kind of a potato last year, but Brooke is shooting way better from last year. Bobby Portis is shooting, I think he's averaging 2 a game, and he's like shooting 50%. So, I mean, you're still getting 1 a game out of him, which is nice. The bench is shooting well. I mean, Pad is shooting well. Thanasis is not. That's another man. Fix the rotation. But, and the other major stat that jumped out to me looking at the Bucks stats so far this season is Giannis is shooting 31% from three. Giannis is shooting 31% from the three-point line. That is, by my stats here, that is the best since his rookie year. And his rookie year, I think he took like 1.5 a game. So Giannis shooting a career best, minimum 2 a game from three-point line is good. I think it's a gift and a curse, because Giannis tends to do these things where if he feels like he can hit a shot, he shoots it, and sometimes it just does awful, and he wastes an entire possession because he'll bring the ball up the court and then just pull up the three and just waste it, and it sucks. But Giannis is shooting 31% from the 3-point line. Anyway, so yeah, and then the last note I have is just the game last night where Bud draws up the same inbounds play to win the game that he has 100 times. And Chris Middleton, who went 0 for 4 from the 3-point line before that, misses a shot. Giannis underneath the basket. It doesn't matter because we should have had probably 2 or 3 more seconds on the clock, and Chris Middleton misses that shot. Giannis grabs that offensive rebound, puts it in. We go to overtime. That's all I'm saying. The refs kind of fucked us there, but everyone's hyping up the Nets, and we took them to that shoot with Chris Middleton shooting over 5 from the 3-point line. I like those odds in a 7-game series, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Ooh, excuse me. Ooh. I'm trying to do this all in one take so the audio isn't screwed up for the podcast people. The Packers. NFC Championship game. Okay. They say that a team is only as good as their last game. And we know how good the Packers are. We all watched that game. We just beat the number 1 defense. So let's take a look at the Bucks last game. Sorry, Buccaneers. That's going to get confusing if I keep saying Bucks because we just talked about the Milwaukee Bucks. Let's take a look at the Buccaneers' last game against the New Orleans Saints. Buccaneers defense against the New Orleans offensive line. 0 sacks. 3 total QB hits. That is huge. That is enormous because that's how they beat us in week whatever. They just pressured Aaron Rodgers and forced him to throw turnovers. Speaking of turnovers, Drew Brees threw 3 INTs and they also lost a fumble. When was the last time an Aaron Rodgers-led Packers offense had 4 TOs in a game? I literally can't think of any. So the fact that the Buccaneers defense, 0 total sacks and 4 turnovers, and they won the game by only 10, it's not scary. The defense that just doesn't scare me. And both offenses only had 200 passing yards. Tell me there's going to be a game. Look me in the eyes right now, or for podcast people, mouth me in the mouth. talk whatever. Tell me that Aaron Rodgers will throw 3 INTs and only have 200 yards passing. You cannot be a legitimate Packers fan and say, "Oh yeah, I guess I could see that happening." No, absolutely not. There's no way in shit that will ever happen. This Bucs defense isn't scary. It's not scary. Michael Thomas had 0 receptions, 0 yards. That's their number 1 option. Well, I mean, maybe not recently, but that's like a number 1, number 2 option. Look, let's compare him to Lazard for sake of whatever. You think Lazard's going to have 0 receptions for 0 yards? He had 1 dropped pass last week, yes, but he also had, a 65-yard reception for a touchdown? Compared to Mike Thomas, their number 1/2 option had 0. And also, while we're speaking of receiving, Mike Evans, the Tom Brady's number 1 option, had 1 reception for 3 yards. So if we put Jair on him, he's going to get 0 receptions. Tom Brady will probably throw around 200 yards again on offense. And we have a better secondary, arguably, than the Saints did. Guys, if you think Aaron Rodgers is going to throw 200 yards and 3 INTs and we're only going to put up 200 yards or 300 yards of total offense, you're just wrong. We're the number 1 offense in the league. You think the Bucs defense can stop us right now when we're hot as shit and we had an extra day of rest? Guys, we're not going to win the NFC Championship game. Absolutely not. People are saying, shut up. And then next week, when we win the NFC Championship game, I'll be talking about how we're going to win the Super Bowl. Book it. But yeah, that's all I got. End of the show, we always like to do the shout-outs. I actually have a what did we call it last time? A diss? Un-shout-out? Sure. I want to give an unshout-out. We all know how bad the TNT broadcast was last night and how bad it's been all year if you're watching basketball on TNT. Everyone's talking about Marv. You know how Marv is old and senile and no idea what he's talking about. But holy shit, my problem is with Chris Webber. My guy. This is Chris Webber the entire game. Oh, for those on the podcast, my face is in the notebook. Oh, yeah, Giannis looks really good out there. He is from Greece, and he has 2 shoes from Nike. Kevin Durant has 13. Meanwhile, there's basketball happening. That's what Chris Webber does. He looks down at his notes, and he just never looks up. He just reads what's in front of him instead of watching the game. There's so many times where he'll be talking about a play, and he'll be like looking at statistics or some dumb bullshit on the sheet, and then like 3 other plays have gone by, and he's still talking about the same statistic off the same play. Like, dude, look up, watch the game. You're an NBA veteran. Why can't you just watch the game and comment on the game that's happening? You have so much knowledge of the game. You're an NBA veteran of 10 plus years. Watch the game, not the freaking notebook. You can't tell me that. Okay, you can tell me that Marcus Johnson on the Bucks cast is entirely better than Chris Webber. I don't know. I don't even know I'm so mad. I don't even know what the argument was there. Marcus Johnson greater than Chris Webber because he looks up from the game and uses his game knowledge and his veteranship to comment on the game. TNT. How do you have some of the best pre and post game analysts and just overall commentators in the history of television, in the history of sports television? Shaq, Kenny, Chuck, and Ernie, they're gold mine, absolute gems. And then you send it off to Marv and Chris. Unreal. It's unreal how bad it is. See you next week, everyone.